man. I was just listening to you in my headphones.
Great. Thank you so much.
The movie starts with a rumor after my mother died. Years after she died, I heard a rumor that she was having an affair before dying, and I didn't want to prove it if that was real or not. I thought it was okay to live because I would never know the truth. So I was learning to live with mystery. And Mia, my mother, before dying, Mia is a singer as well. And so before she passing away, my mother went to see Mia without me to a concert. So in a way, it felt like a transference of voice, from my mother to Mia to my mother, my mother to Mia. I thought she was a perfect part to play this role. But yeah, the movie, really I wanted to understand, I think that in life, we always try to explain everything, but really we can't. And we have to learn to accept mystery. And I love mystery. I write without knowing where the movie is going. So it's almost, when I'm very connected writing feels like reading. It's something that's happening to me as I read. And I like when a movie either surprises me or moves me. And of course I aspire to either move or hopefully both, or surprise people. I did write it out of order, chronologically. And the first edit of the movie was the way I wrote it, so completely out of order. But it made it very, very difficult to follow the story. Already it's like a complex movie.
But it changed it
in the edits, yes. Yeah, that's why the edit took 8 months. Yeah, because it was like, at first I was set, I wanted exactly to be the way I wrote it, which is, completely out of order, which is the way my other two movies are. The time is shifts. But this one, I felt like it's already such a complex movie and complex character that it made sense that we put it in order, in chronological order. If people really love this band, they adore their music, they respect, they're like their gods. And the movie is also about fanatism, It's like clapping to me feels like interrupting the sound. And to me, that if you really love someone playing music, you would clap with silence. And then I came up with this, just like one for me, one for you, one hand facing myself and one hand facing the audience. That's sort of culty, he's also like a cult figure as well. And he wants to also grow this figure, in himself. And yeah, it really happened when I was writing in a cafe and I just did this gesture, I was like, well, instead of clapping, maybe there's something else. Lee was a huge part in it. Writing, you have a movie in your mind, characters in your mind that you can control exactly because they are, but then when you find the actors, they change the characters, And then you have to let go of the character and let the actor take the character. Mia, because I know her, the character is very close. The way she performed the part is very close to what I had in my mind. But Lee actually did something very different because Lee, I wrote the character before knowing I was going to work with Lee, and Lee's an amazing actor. But Lee's a very physical actor. He's a very tall person, enters a room, and it's like a very big presence. In the screenplay, Elliot was a much more secluded, almost like a mathematician, like a nerd. He was very, very secluded, very small, very mysterious. But he performed it in a much more, bigger way, and that really changed the perception of Elliot. But I think it was also really exciting because I think there's something really unexpected. I mean, he's a really good actor, very intelligent. Every take, he gives something completely different. So it was really fun in the edit to shape Elliot, because he gave us all these options. I thought that it was interesting, the movie is also about a pregnant woman and the sexuality of pregnant women. A lot of my friends, that when they were pregnant, they remember being very sexual actually. And also, of course, it questions who owns the female pregnant body. For a lot of people, especially men, they're like, she's doing something terrible because the body now it's also mine because there's a baby. So I think it's interesting to open that question too, especially in these times. The sex scene, I wanted her to not just kiss or have sex with him, but I wanted her to cross a taboo. And I feel like smelling a dirty shoe or something that feels more fetishistic, and of course it's a very common sexual fantasy, but for having a pregnant woman doing that, I felt like it was slightly crossing over that taboo and putting her more in a place where she's slightly more vulnerable while not judging her. I think the movie doesn't judge her, no one really judges her. It's like, she's very free in her actions. Of course, there's consequences to her actions, but I wanted the movie to not judge her. Yesterday, there was a film director in the audience, Lucio Castro, and he said something really interesting about the film. He said that for him, the movie, it almost feels like a dream because there's no judgment. Now in dreams, we don't really judge actions. Things just happen after the other. And I think that's really nice. There's something there, I think that I agree that by lifting the judgment of the characters, everyone feels way more free to move around and do things, yeah.